I was just going to ask, what's the main difficulty? Why the magistrates? I mean, what's the main difficulty getting cases through using it?
The main difficulty is that magistrates tend to be very, very conservative. It's always been a problem in the criminal justice system. They tend to be quite well-off individuals who've got a lot of time on their hands, so they tend to be more right-wing or establishment-minded. So they're very, very unsympathetic to the types of concerns that protesters that are interested in the Israel Palestine question are interested in. I'm being unfair. Some are terribly interested and terribly fair, but in general the reaction is very, very negative, so that they're very unsympathetic to running these defences. And then if you compare that to the higher court, the Crown Court, where you have a jury, the jury is much more representative because you have 12 members of, representative of the community. So out of 12 people, you're likely to get 1 or 2 people at least who will take the issue seriously.
So if you wanted to bring up a case against, say, Palestinian armed groups, would that go through more easily? Just hypothetically, or not?
I'm not sure what the case you could bring against the Palestinian armed groups would be.
There were some things in the report about how the armed groups in the villages, it was dangerous the way they're shooting these weapons without aiming them, then they're shooting them from civilian kind of areas and stuff.
Yeah, well it's clearly a war crime to launch a weapon that's indiscriminate, so it can't distinguish between combatants and civilians. Yeah. So that would be a war crime. The difficulty is most people who do that are in Gaza, so they're not likely to be brought before private magistrates court. It's a possibility, certainly. And I suspect they would be treated. They would be treated in much the same way as any other person alleged to have committed war crimes. I don't think the difficulty is really bias between the two sides. The difficulty tends to be more an unwillingness to get involved with situations which appear to relate to third parties, as far as I can see.
Have we got a question there, Anna?
Yeah.
No.
Have we got any questions?
Everyone else left, it's just us now.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, we should take one more question then.
Yeah, just really quick question. What constitutes immunity? So, how exactly do they get immunity? If it's a sort of foreign diplomat, someone like Ahmed Barak, do they automatically have immunity, or?
Yeah, there are certain things. I think basically the state immunity and diplomatic immunity are the main ones, and those are relevant because just as a matter of custom and practice, governments can't do anything if they're subject potentially to being arrested in the state which they're visiting. So it's been established that certain individuals clearly have state immunity, so President, Prime Minister, Foreign Minister. Now after that it gets a bit vague. The UK thinks that a Defence Minister has immunity, and there was a case of Mofaz where they recognised it. But beyond that it's very, very grey, so it's not clear. Diplomatic immunity is a bit more clear because there's certain procedures to go through to be recognised as a diplomat, and if you have diplomatic immunity, you have diplomatic immunity. But there are exceptions to that, and the immunity only lasts as long as the person holds that position. So once they're no longer the head of the state, once they're no longer the foreign minister, prime minister, or whatever, then they lose that immunity and they can be prosecuted.
Sorry.
Okay, last question.
That didn't happen to Pinochet though. Even in Chile at the moment, he's still got immunity in Chile. Pinochet. Yeah. When did Pinochet die?
Okay, let's ask the question.
Sorry, I forgot
So
that.
if Zippy Livni comes to the JNF conference on Sunday, can you say anything about her immunity or ability to have her arrested?
Well, I guess in theory you could apply to have her arrested if you had a case.
You need to win a case first.
Sorry?
Do you need to win the case first to have the right to arrest her, or do you arrest her in order to bring the case before?
No, you'd have to persuade the magistrate's court that there's enough evidence against her. She wasn't immune. She's directly responsible, and all the normal questions. But in theory, it's possible. Okay, I'm going to wrap up.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay.
No, of course. No.